All right, good morning and happy Wednesday, everyone. Quick sound check here in Essentials. Make sure we are G to G. Omer, what up, big dog? All right, guys, CPI report has hit the markets, and looking at the futures here, NQ, little pop into yesterday's high. Little bit of the dip, and now we're kind of hanging out here above the hourly 21. If they can hold it above that 18,700, better yet above the hourly 21, but at a minimum, if they can hold the hourly 50, they've got momentum back above zero. They've got the 21 back above the 50. I think above 18,700 could be a decent shot for them to take it a little bit higher. S&P futures down a little bit, down about a third. Little pop here back towards that big 5,500. Dip back down to 54.70, and they got it back above the 50 and that 21. 54.80, 54.70, I think north of that. They might try to take that 1 hour squeeze to the upside. Bigger picture, outside of a pop for today, can anything change? And keep in mind, we also got the PPI report tomorrow. But when I look at the S&Ps here, I'm watching this range between 5,500. It's really 5,525-ish. 5,500 and change and 5,400. Down to 54, you have the low from last week. You have the weekly 21 EMA. And if you follow spot gamma, we got the put wall down there at 5,400. 1, 2, 3 different things that points towards potentially. That might be a bigger, more meaningful level of support. 55.25. I think 1 or 2 strong closes back above that. Bulls got a good chance of working it back towards 56 and change. 55.25 gets you back above a daily 50, back above the daily 21, back above 1 hour resistance, 4 hour resistance. I think puts them in a much better position for some sustainable action to the upside. So today, tomorrow, into Friday, that's my bigger question. Can we finish off the week above the 55.25 or below the 54? Then I think looking for swing trades probably gets a lot easier. If we are going to see the markets go higher, I think a big part of that has to be big tech and big semis. What's working right now? Or a better way to word it, what's trying to work? We've got real estate, utilities, gold, XLP, healthcare, and a little XLY. What's not working? Right? What's bearish? Energy. Way more importantly, though, the semis, XLK, Google, AMAT, Goldman, Meta, JP Morgan. Out of the big 14, Tesla and Amazon, those would be the top 2. Therefore, today into Friday, I'm going to look to those 2 names first, potentially as a gauge of can we go higher. Tesla's got the best score. If the name with the best score can't go higher, I think that tells you a little bit about the current market. If we are going to go higher, I want to go play a Tesla way before I go try to play a Google. Negative 41 versus a positive 44. I'm taking Tesla every day of the week. So a couple levels for you on the Tesla. The big one here would be the spot gamma call wall at 230. And again, I'm not sure how many of you follow spot gamma. I've been watching it for a month, maybe a month and a half. Think of your call wall and your put wall like a magnet and potentially a big level of resistance or support. Out of really clean examples as of late, NVIDIA had a call wall at 130, or all throughout back here. So off the bottom, they take price directly to that 130 call wall. It kind of serves as a big magnet. When you get there, if they can't break it through, then it's more likely to be a big level of resistance. They try 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to break it through. They don't get it. Then you get the flush. Interestingly enough, yesterday, the call wall dropped from 130 down to 110. Little gap up for NVIDIA at the open. A little bit of a grind higher. Gets within about 50 cents of that brand new 110 call wall. And at least for yesterday, that's all she wrote. So going back to Tesla, call wall here at 230. That would be the level to break. One, maybe two good closes above that 230. Then I think they can take that daily squeeze. Better yet, that daily squeeze of the fresh momentum cross. For the first time since end of July, momentum might finally support a push higher. Through 230, pretty quickly I think it can see 235, 240 plus. If that can't work, then I'm not too sure what's going to work. As far as these big tech, big semi names go. And then Amazon would be the number 2 spot. And the call wall for Amazon's up here at $1.85. I think for a path towards $1.85, we are looking for one or two strong closes above that daily 50. Big flush, they break it down. Ever since that big dump, this is the first official test of that falling daily 50. A lot of times the first smooch, they're not going to quite break it through. If they can go for a second attempt, and you got a 4-hour, 2-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute buy signal, if they can get it through on the second attempt, then I think you're playing for that 185 call wall. But more importantly, because of the scoring system, if I'm trying to find 1, 2, maybe 3 names that look a lot better than the rest, might be good enough to try to lead things higher, they can offer a lot of context. Tesla, Amazon, they all get hammered today. Well, if that's the best in show, then I probably got no long here. Bigger picture, I think more weakness in these kinds of spots, Tesla's, Google's, Apple's, Nvidia's, just puts more pressure on everything. Real estate, utilities, all the things that are trying to work. That being said, shall not be a dull day. But yeah, for any kind of sustainable direction, we're moving higher, we're moving lower for more than 15, 30 minutes. I think you're looking for a move above these bigger levels. S&P's 5,500, 5,525 does get things clear of a lot of different spots of resistance. From there, I think you're looking primarily for longs. At the same time, see it for what it is, though. The flush and the first bounce back towards a couple of big spots. They fail here, could lead to a flush down towards that put wall. So a lot of patience into the open, and we'll keep an eye on the internals, keep an eye on the lower time frames. And for the last couple of days here, that served us pretty well. As far as an immediate setup, that's one thing that's kind of lacking here. The bigger thing I'm lacking, and the way more important thing, is just a clear market direction. I can go look for 4-hour, 1-hour, 30-minute, 15-minute squeezes. I can look for longs. I can look for shorts. They're probably not going to work that well. They're probably not going to work as good as they should until I finally get some wind at my back. I think it's way more of a SPX QQQ thing than a, hey, I'm going to go try to call for the bottom in Google kind of thing. 5-minute squeeze on the Qs, a 5-minute on NVIDIA, and a 5-minute on Microsoft. What I would love to see, if the market happens to care, what I would love to see is we are going into next week, markets back above those key levels, then the Apples, NVIDIAs, Googles, etc., they're kicking out fresh 15-minute, 30-minute, 1-hour squeezes. Would be right up my alley. And then call wall for the S&Ps, I believe it's still all the way up here at 5,700. So room to run. They've really been pretty damn accurate. TSM had a call wall at $1.75. And it's kind of crazy if they can't break it through. Really, just um, what room am I in right now? Damn it, where am I right now? What room are we in? My bad. Let me go grab the essentials. I thought I was in essentials. Oh, I'm in my room. Whoops. Sorry about that, Mirza. I saw you trying to ping me. You tried to stop me from myself. All right, let me go grab the other room here, and we'll do a quick rehash of everything I just went through. All right, sorry guys. Jumped into the wrong room and I got going. But anywho, as I was saying, we got the CPI report and quick look here at the futures. Initially, a little pop back towards yesterday's high. From there, a little bit of a dip ski, and now right back up towards yesterday's high. So what I was saying to the other folks here, I think you take that 1 hour squeeze here on the NQ. Bare minimum, they hold it above that 18,700. Right, they keep it above that hourly 50. They've got the squeeze, they've got the fresh momentum cross, they've got the 21 back above the 50. Couple of things that point towards they might want to crank out that shorter term bounce. Got to get through yesterday's high, and then S&P futures down a touch, but I think the same thing. 1 hour squeeze, 21 back above the 50. If they can hold it above a 21 or a 50 SMA, I think potentially through yesterday's high, that could all kick off a nice push into higher prices. Bigger picture, though, does anything change? Where does something change for the S&Ps? I think a good strong close above 55.50, 5,500, 55.25. Then I think in the short term, the dynamic is a little bit shifted. 55.25 gets you back above 1 hour resistance, 4 hour resistance, daily 50, daily 21. Would be their best chance to right a few of their wrongs. Big level there for the S&Ps, and then the Qs. I'm not thinking so much can the QQQ fix all the problems, rebuild all the structure, get all the buy signals. I'm thinking a little more, could they at least bounce back towards 465? Bounce back towards a falling 21. Then we shall take it from there. A big part of that potential push, I think, will be a few of these key names here. Mainly Tesla, Amazon, and then, as always, a little NVIDIA and Apple. Strongest two names on the board are Tesla and Amazon. So for Tesla, all about that call wall up there at 230. For the first time since end of July, trying to get daily momentum in a position where it actually supports a push higher. I think from there, one or two closes above that 230 call wall. And then, ideally, the call wall goes to 240, 250. Couple of closes above 230. Go find your next 5-minute, 15-minute, 30-minute squeeze. And I think you're playing for 240, 250-ish. Q's bounce back towards 365, or 465 rather, and then they just completely fail. It's probably going to be all she wrote as far as a pop for Amazon, NVIDIA, Tesla, all the above. So indexes first, then Tesla, then Amazon. But watch your 230 strike for Tesla, and then for the Zon, a couple of good closes above that daily 50. All right, brand new daily squeeze. Momentum back above zero for the first time in about 8 or so weeks. They take that momentum shift, they take that daily squeeze, they get it above that falling daily 50. We've got a potential magnet around 185 up there at that call wall. And I'm going to look to Amazon. I'm going to look to Tesla for leadership way before I'm going late and looking at a Google. And I love Google, but Google's had a pretty rough go here. Much better structure, much better signals in Tesla and the Amazon. For Apple here, the big Apple. I don't have a trigger to do anything just yet, but what I do see here, maybe for 8, 12 weeks down the road, potential for a big move. We've got a 3-day squeeze setting up. Inside of that, you've got a 2-day squeeze setting up. Inside of that, you have a daily squeeze setting up. Could be a week from now, could be a handful of weeks from now. When that daily squeeze fires, either long or short, bigger picture that can kick off that domino effect. They fire it short, that kicks off a good flush. During that flush, they go and fire that 2-day squeeze. Well, the 2-day squeeze, the bigger time frame, that's built up a bit more energy. That can lead to a bigger flush. They get that thing going lower, then they go fire that 3-day squeeze. Squeeze on squeeze action. Right? They fire it to the upside, vice versa. Shorter term, if I want to play Apple to the buy side, I've got to see momentum shifting back above zero in the squeeze, and I've got to see price back above that 21 and that 50. Really big stock, really big piece of the puzzle. When that daily squeeze fires long or short, I think probably going to have a big impact on a lot of our favorite names. So Tesla, Apple, and the Amazon, along with NVIDIA, a few names I would watch there. And as the Qs are pushing, I think out the gate, it's the bull's market for the grabbing this morning. For those of you in my room, think back, though, to yesterday morning. What happened yesterday morning? You got the S&Ps here, and we'll look at a 1-minute time frame. All right, where are we? The 10th. Here we go. So here's yesterday. Gap up at the open. Right, and when we get the gap at the open, we've got the 1-minute buy signal on the indicator. My thinking from there is, all right, if we're going to rally all day long, right, we're just going to squeeze out the shorts all morning, all afternoon. Chances are, for the most part, we're going to keep a 1-minute buy signal. We gap up into 54.95 and we're going to 55.50. I think pretty much all day long, we're going to have a 1-minute buy signal. Also, if we're going to keep on squeezing the shorts here from the open, the internals should pretty much support that thinking. Gap up, pull back, and about a half hour into the session, momentum shifts negative. There goes your 1-minute buy signal. Look at the advanced decline. Market gaps up, the advanced decline gaps up. Nice positive reading, plus 600-700. Immediately heads back down towards zero. From there, grinds down to a negative reading. Right? Doesn't go positive until the final minute of the session. That action on the 1-minute time frame, the action here on the internals points towards the gap up. Might quickly lose steam, might just trade sideways, might pull back a bit. As opposed to, hey, we're going to keep on grinding all morning, all afternoon. Now, we're not getting that kind of gap up this morning. But if anything, on the QQQ, little tiny pop here at the open. In my room, we're going to go watch that 1-minute chart. If they can't keep a 1-minute buy signal, what good can they do? If the internals are trash, what good can the bulls do? Look at those things before you're thinking, I'm going to go buy Tesla, etc., etc. But all right, folks, any questions, anything y'all want to take a look at, I've got you covered. Drop it in the chat. And we got about 24 minutes before all the action unfolds. Unlikely to be a dull one. Hey, Toro Joe, what's going on, man? How have you been, my friend? It's been a while. Hope all's well on your end. Awesome, man. I love it. Trendy does some great work. Keith, so the call walls come from spot gamma. All right, and I'll show you that here. Now, we've done some work here with spot gamma in the past. Me personally, no affiliation. But again, they've been really, really helpful. From one standpoint, taking longs in this market's been a little tough. If you take that long and you try to call for more than a push into the call wall, I've seen left and right. You'll have a big open profit, then it turns into a big fat max loss. Netflix into 700 repeatedly. To try back here, big fail, try again, try again, try again, try again. So where's, let me see, here we go. So here's a website, and if I go to, let's go look at AMD. Right, go to AMD, and then on the history tab here, got my call wall and my put wall. So call wall is $1.45, and my put wall is 130. All right, call wall at $1.45, and your put wall down there. Maybe Omer or Mears has got a link. John and Henry did do a webinar with them. I want to say back in November, December. Hey, Livewire, can I look at CORZ? Absolutely. Coors, like the beer. All right, looks like a somewhat recent IPO. So on the daily squeeze, and let me go find you a good example. Good one would be crowd on the 4-hour. Okay, so see crowd back here. We've got this really solid 4-hour squeeze. But then if we look down here at the momentum line, the MACD, we've got that good-looking 4-hour squeeze, but the MACD is trading below zero, meaning momentum at the moment doesn't really support the idea of that squeeze firing to the upside. Now, instead, go take a look at Google. We'll call it from June 1st up until June 21st. Google's got this nice 4-hour squeeze. And you've got stacked EMAs, 21 EMA above the 50. A lot to like for a push higher. What you don't have from end of May until late June is the MACD above zero. Good looking squeeze, good looking structure, really nice trend, no gas in the tank. But from there, as soon as the MACD gets back above zero, they take that good structure, trend, squeeze, they crank out that move. So when you get that positive cross, you can get some nice action. If you can't get that positive cross, a la crowd, right, you're waiting for momentum to shift, never gets back above zero. Eventually, the squeeze kind of throws in the towel, turns around and breaks short. So back to Chorus here. Momentum on the 4-hour is below zero. Momentum on the daily chart is below zero. Now, for the most part, that hasn't caused any huge damage. It's not as if momentum is shifted and they just take it into a massive downtrend. If anything, you could view that as a bit more bullish. Momentum goes through a bit of a bear cycle, but they're not taking it out behind the woodshed. It just kind of hangs out here in a squeeze near that 21, near that 50. From here, if they can hook it back above zero, might be poised for a push back towards 12 and change. Where sometimes that negative momentum cycle, will totally tear apart the chart. Sell signals, downtrend. This actually holds up nicely. Momentum could be the kick for a push. Good morning, Danny. Danny wants to take a look at Baba. At first glance, I am a fan. Buy signals on the weekly, daily, 2 hour, 1 hour, 30, 15 minute, 5 minute. Daily squeeze setting up. Weekly squeeze setting up. For the first time in a year, weekly 21 back above the weekly 50. Does that mean Bob is going to $200? No. But that does point towards they're trying to put in the official bottom. First comes momentum. Then they rebuild some structure. Then they try to get a little action going from that weekly squeeze there. So above $80, I would be looking for a path higher. In the shorter term, I'd watch the MACD on the 4 hour. If they can get it back above zero, that might give it the little oomph it needs here to try to get a push going. 1 hour chart looks solid. Yeah, I think you take that daily squeeze and what should seal the deal for a nice pop would be that momentum kick here on the 4 hour. Light a little flame up under it, as they say. And yeah, Livewire, my pleasure. My pleasure. Toro Joe, funny enough, I was chatting with Sam about Home Depot yesterday. He told me he was taking a look here. Let me see the weekly. You can't ask for much more in a weekly squeeze. I mean, that's really clean. Now, here's what I like about that weekly squeeze even more. We've got the white dot, so checks off all the trend boxes, checks off all the structure boxes, etc. As far as that momentum ingredient, I don't just like the fact it's above zero. I like the fact it's above zero after a fresh cross. Think of that bear cycle like a hurricane. Home Depot sitting through a bit of a storm here, but the structure holds up nicely. 21 above the trending 50, 50 above the trending 200. We sat through a momentum hurricane, but the house holds up nicely. From there, if they can fix momentum, right, sky is clear, back in the favor of the bulls, can lead to a really nice push. So I like that weekly squeeze. And then again, I think the kick here would be the shift on the 4 hour. Solid though, very solid. All right, guys, NQ, the little pop, S&Ps are flat as a board. And we'll find out what we can get from all that here for today. But I'm going to let y'all go. For those of you in my room, I'll see you in about 5 minutes. We will get the party going. And yeah, I'm thinking into, tomorrow afternoon, Friday's close. And where we are into Friday's close, I think shapes a lot of next week. S&P is above 55.25-ish. I think I'm looking for more longs next week. Big rejection here, big rollover. I'm thinking more short. But as always, folks, thank you for all the time and effort. Much, much appreciated. Apologies for the late start here in the Essentials room, and I will talk to you all soon. Adios. Go get 'em.